get great news, but it comes at a cost. What do I mean by that? We're going to break that down in this video. So, what's the great news the Packers get? And some of you may tune me out as soon as I say it. So, please don't listen to the video in its entirety. The great news the Packers get is that they have an incredible general manager. And it's almost like anytime Aaron Rodgers stepped out on the football field, I was like, okay, the Packers have got a legitimate chance of getting a title, going to the Super Bowl. You get that same type of feeling with Brian Gutekunst as your general manager, and I'm going to explain that in this video of even moves that he did or did not do this past year that could have been detrimental to the team, but it comes at a cost. Okay, so what's the cost? Well, he goes against the grain. He does the unpopular thing in the moment. Just even remember when they drafted Jordan Love, okay, completely against the grain, completely going against what everybody was out there saying that he should have done, or even drafting Jordan Morgan this past year, first round, when I thought they should have gotten some defensive help. And now we're left in this offseason of saying, okay, well, we need some defensive help. We could have gotten um, Cooper DeJean. We could have gotten Quinyon Mitchell. We could have gotten guys like that in the draft if we would have been strategic slightly. But Brian Gutekunst just proves over and over again that just relax. Trust me, I've got it under control. Okay, so in this article, which is quite interesting, there's an NFL analyst out there that said, you got some guys that just throw some crap at the board when talking about, looking in the future and coming up with plans. He says, this plan is a clear plan. He has a 3-year plan and a 5-year plan. You can see it by the way that he's shaped the roster. And there's times where you're looking at even the Jordan Love pick and you're just like, dude, what is this guy doing right now? He's not helping Aaron Rodgers in the moment. Aaron Rodgers is confused. Everybody's confused and pissed. And then you fast forward to the future, right? 5-year plan. And you're like, okay, Brian Gutekunst certainly knew what he was doing getting Jordan Love here. And then you look at Jordan Morgan, this past most recent first round pick. Okay, so I'm left scratching my head saying, man, I don't see it yet. But I need to remain patient. Okay, so Brian Gutekunst said after they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, he's like, man, we've got a bunch of good guys in the locker room. We've got a bunch of talented guys in the locker room. And I think it's time we started competing for championships, right? And I think they're ready. And I do think they're ready. And I think the Packers, we talked about it in yesterday's video. I think the Packers are actually set up the best of any team in the NFC North. And you could have looked at this NFC North as the strongest division in all of football between Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit. I think Detroit's going to take a step back. We've already explained why. Losing their DC, their OC, they're going to be losing some big name free agents that they're not able to re-sign, or even take a look at Minnesota, the uncertainty at the quarterback position. They're going to lose some key guys on defense. Hopefully one of those guys comes to the Packers when you're looking at our secondary. But also Aaron Jones, what do they do with him? He's not getting any younger. All of those things, right, that Brian Gutekunst already considered when he was able to part ways with Aaron Jones. We get Josh Jacobs in-house, and just the team looks dramatically different. Okay, so we can take comfort in that. Okay, so later on in the article, it's talking about how the Packers, bring on board some guys in the draft, like their wide receiving room, like Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs. Now Christian Watson's been injured, with injury plagued, and same thing with Romeo Dobbs. He seems to be, trying to get over this hurdle with these concussions, and I don't know if he's able to do that. Dontavian Wicks shows a lot of promise. He's just got to be able to catch the ball and hang on to the ball. Jaden Reed is an absolute diamond in the rough. You've got Tucker Kraft. What a pickup that was for the Packers on offense, right? So you're looking at those picks on offense. And then again, you've got Zach Tom building the offensive line through the draft. Zach Tom, they're going to have to throw some money at. But you look at what they did this offseason, getting Josh Jacobs, spending some money out there, getting Xavier McKinney, spending some money out there. Kenny Clark, I think said it perfectly about this team. He's like, I've been a part of a lot of great teams here. And he was, if you remember, they drafted Kenny Clark 27th overall in the 2016 draft. He went in the first round. He said, this is one of the best teams I've been around, just based off of our depth. We got a lot of great players at the top of the depth chart, but the more you look at our depth, we got a lot of guys that can just flat out play. We got a lot of dogs here, he says. So when you take a look at just how brilliant Brian Gutekunst was this offseason, okay? You take a look at what they did at the trade deadline, or could have done at the trade deadline, and there was a lot of, talks that the Packers needed to go out and trade and get and acquire some help in the secondary. One of them is Marshawn Lattimore. And what did Washington have to give up for him? Well, it says in this article right here that the Commanders packaged a third, fourth, and sixth round pick to get Lattimore, and a fifth round pick they got in return. So with the Packers, if they would have been in the same boat, because there was talks that the Packers should have gone out and gotten Marshawn Lattimore, and that's what it would have cost the Packers. They would have been looking forward to this year's draft without a third, a fourth, and a sixth round pick, and they would have gained another fifth round pick, and they have a guy like Marshawn Lattimore. Well, what did Lattimore do? Okay, so Lattimore ended up playing in just two regular season games and three playoff games. He broke up three passes in week 16 against the Eagles. Um, uh, Philadelphia Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts missed most of that game with a concussion, but was tormented in the rematch this last Sunday's game and then NFC Championship game that we all saw. Okay, so giving up a touchdown in the playoff game against Tampa Bay, and not allowing a catch in the upset win against Detroit. Lattimore allowed 4 of 6 passes for 88 yards against the Eagles, according to PFF, with completions of 20 plus yards to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goddard. Plus, he was flagged for a pass interference in the red zone. Um, on 3rd and 13, and that set up a 1st and goal. Moments later, he was flagged for unnecessary roughness. So that cost them those type of decision making plays are completely costly to a team. And then when you couple that with the fact that Marshawn Lattimore is going to get paid, right? So how much is he going to get paid? Well, he's owed 16 million, and then this upcoming year, and then 16.5 the next year. So when you take a look at the stats that Marshall, and I was one of those guys that was like, man, the Packers need to go out and do the uncomfortable. Okay, so when I'm talking to Brian Gutekunst, it's just like, dude, do the uncomfortable. Go and give up some draft capital to get a guy like Marshawn Lattimore, and that certainly wouldn't have paid off for the Packers. Okay, so you take a look at what they did do and what he did do this offseason by getting Xavier McKinney, getting Josh Jacobs here. But what about the in-season moves like picking up Malik Willis? What a timely pickup. They gave up a 7th-round draft pick, and at the time, I know some people were saying, man, that's crazy. Why would we give up a 7th-round draft pick for Malik Willis? Well, we needed him in a big way, and that dude looked absolutely brilliant for this Packer offense. And now we're left, with a very solid quarterback, backup quarterback, or even some incredible trade bait to get some draft capital there. And then the Packers did the in-season move to trade Preston Smith to replace that 7th-round pick that we lost. Man, did that pay off, okay? Because Preston Smith was kind of holding us back. He's getting older. He's 32 years old. And the Packers got younger on our pass rush. Now, do we still need help at the edge? Absolutely, because I don't know Lucas Van Ness is the answer. I really don't. And I know Rashawn Gary is solid and he's super good. I think Brenton Cox is the next best answer, but is that going to be a consistent, good enough thing? But what about even going and getting Brandon McManus? We know the kicking woes we've had over the last couple of kickers. Then we get Brandon McManus in there just in time for that Houston win. He comes up with a game-winning field goal, and then we're left saying, "Oh my gosh, Brandon McManus! See, the dude is so good." And the only knock that you can make with Brian Gutekunst is that his first-round picks have not been amazing. Okay, so but I'm here to tell you they haven't been all that bad either, because you take a look at when obviously he drafted Jair Alexander in 2018. Savage was a bust. That same year, 2019, they get Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary is not a bust. That dude is super good. And if he's got help on the other end, he's going to be able to showcase what exactly that dude is capable of doing. Rashawn Gary was a home run hit. Same thing with Jordan Love. What a pick in the first round. And I think we overlooked these picks. Eric Stokes was a bust. He's been plagued with injuries. He just hasn't been that cornerback that we all were hoping for. Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, they've been presentable. They do the job. I don't think they're first round caliber type picks, and living up to that expectation remains to be seen with Devontae Wyatt. Quay Walker, I just don't see it in him, but he's solid enough. Lucas Van Ness, that looks like a complete bust of a pick because I'd rather have Brenton Cox Jr. unless Lucas Van Ness takes a major step forward this offseason. Jordan Morgan, though, you don't know what that guy's going to be capable of. I'm looking forward to seeing what Jordan Morgan will be doing for this Packer offense. But I think we've got an incredible general manager in Brian Gutekunst. He has plans, he has visions, not just 1 year down the field, down the line. He's looking 3 to 5 years down the lines. Leave your comments, and as always, go Pack Go.